But let me say, you're most welcome. This meeting, I know this is not your first time. I think the last time you were here, we had a very lively conversation, and we hope to continue with the same conversation over your financial record, especially that has been done by the Auditor General. This is not a new thing to you, accounting officer. I know you came here the other time, so we hope we should be able to look into your books and we see how we can advise. Where it needs improvement, you need to go and improve. Where you need to change, you have to change. Where you need to continue with it, you just continue with the same thing. Park has got some concern, even as a parliament, that Busiteema University, Gulu University, most of these universities, we have had challenges, especially in issuing their transcript, or is it transcript? The students who have done the exams before COVID-19, they're seeing adverts going on and they have not received their transcript. So probably if you are commenting about that, you tell us exactly what is happening. Why are you not giving transcript to the students who completed long time ago, and yet they are supposed to be looking for opportunities here and there? So this is the one thing that we got as PAC. Maybe you will have to comment about that as we are starting with the COVID-19. But otherwise, you're most welcome. We should be able to concentrate mainly on our books of account here, and then we see how we can proceed. You're most welcome. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Chair. And thank you very much for taking us through the communication from the Chair. On the issue of transcripts, I want the academic registrar is the one who issues academic transcripts for the students to start by giving the status of the issuance of academic transcripts for the students that finished in they graduated in October last year, 2019. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Indeed, as has been mentioned, graduation took place on 3rd of October, and we gave our students 2 weeks to have their documents ready for correction.
So their documents is ready?
As far as I'm concerned,
because I was almost raising that issue today, by the way, in the floor of Parliament. When they came last week, the other week, I said, no, let's fast forward on a little bit.
As far as I'm concerned, all
the transcripts are ready.
All the students who graduated
are ready
and qualified.
Ready for collection?
Yes, they are ready. And a good number have corrected them.
Oh, okay, good. I think that's okay. We will cross-check and see how. Yeah. Yes, go ahead with COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson. I made the copies and gave to the Secretariat. Hard copies and then soft copies. I don't know whether.
Do you have a copy of the presentation of COVID-19? Okay. Yes, I think we have it.
Oh, thank you very much, Chairperson.
Yes, you want to have this copy? Oh yeah, sure.
Chairperson, first of all,
let's make a summary.
A summary.
Yeah,
there are 4 thematic areas or 5 where COVID has affected the Busiteema University in particular. One of the thematic areas or activity is teaching and learning. Where the university was closed on 18th, there's this continuation of teaching and learning. From 20th March, the students have been at home up to now. What has been the mitigation? What have we done? One, we have been engaging students online using university learning management system and other platforms such as Zoom and social media. So the lecturers are in touch with their students. 2, the university has in the budget 2020-21 The internet bandwidth has been increased for all 6 campuses, such that when they report in January, the internet will be fine. 3, a staff was designated to restructure the teaching. We have now a coordinator for open distance learning, who is going now to take us through all these guidelines by the National Council for Education. We are training more staff on handling online. We have zero rate learning management system. The university extended students' admission from 30th April to 17th July. Registration of all students is being done online, and Zoom meetings are taking place. We are the council, committees of council, but through Zoom. 2, admissions. So, Chair and members, COVID-19 has affected admissions. The impact is that admissions could not be done as scheduled. We usually do them around 30th May, but we have not done them up to now, apart from the job of Makerere. Pre-entry examinations, we had applicants, but they have not started exams because of COVID. And what are the mitigation? 1, the extended application period has been done from 30th April to 17th. We have just finished the receiving applications, and there will be a meeting on 30th July through Zoom meeting to do the admission. And then the exams being organized online, but we are trying to see whether we can be cleared by by the Ministry of ICT and the Solicitor General and something like that, such that we can do exams online. 2, research and innovation. Chairperson, the impact on COVID is that there has been discontinuation of most research experiments at the university, restrictions to national and international academic mobility. There are no professors going out of the country and coming in the country. What have you done? The first line mitigation was online research collaborations were enhanced within and outside the country. We have staff, they are sharing findings through online on a weekly basis. And we have a number of our university staff using lockdown to publish and disseminate the research findings. We have done, Chair, we have a focus of health sciences in Mbari, where they are now coming up manufacturing sanitizers and masks. And for this matter, Chair, if you allow me, we have a mask, the sample, which is being done by the Busiteema University under COVID arrangement by the Faculty of Health Sciences.
So you're donating for me that one?
Yes, sir. I can, when I go back, but this is a sample we can donate to the members. we have sanitizers and face masks under the courtesy of Faculty of Health Sciences. They are being manufactured, and this sanitizers have been distributed in the districts of Manafa health center 4 and 3 and 2. Manafa, Poduda, Mbare Regional Hospital, now they are in Vokedia. So under that courtesy, the university, and they will have pharmacists who are doing this, and we are going on. This is research and innovation. The governance and administration chairperson, we have only 30% critical staff in all the 6 campuses. 70% are working at home as per the Statutory Public Service Permanent Secretary. And as a result of that, we are having just everything being done on Zoom. We have a challenge. Our council expired. We are going to have a new council, but we are wondering how to conduct staff representative elections using physical voting and the rest. So otherwise, we are waiting for more guidelines from the Ministry of Education, Public Service, and Health. Community outreach chairperson, we have discontinued community outreach. What we are doing, we have been having radio talk shows organized by lecturers. Every 2 weeks, they have one radio talk show on NBS and other televisions. We also have the website, which is very active of Busiteema, where information has been uploaded, and then they are benefiting. And so I have already indicated that the 80% we are having sanitizers and even the gun thermometers are there. On number 6 chairperson, there is a department called the Directorate of Quality Assurance. They have come up with a survey in the whole of May and June and part of this July on the students and teachers and the lecturers. So they have done a research, interviewed all the lecturers, and these are the findings on the students. We found out that the students, when asked, they comfortably said that 81% can use the computers, 11 were neutral, and 8.2 don't know how to use computers. Then, as we move on, the staff were also interviewed, and through Zoom, most of the staff, 96%, agreed that they can use computers comfortably, and 1.9, they don't know how to use computer. That is the support staff and administrative. And so, Chairperson, we are trying now to procure our budget this financial year is on Zoom and computer purchase and setting up this called the video conferencing. So otherwise, the Chairperson, we are not sitting comfortably the 30%. They are doing research, they are doing all this online, but we have been affected in terms of admissions up to now. We have not admitted private students, we have not done exams online. These exams are for the doctors in the Faculty of Health Sciences. So these are the issues in the thematic areas: research, governance, community outreach, survey, admissions, teaching and learning, the impact that COVID has had on Busiteema, what we are continuing to work in a critical way. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Accounting Officer. Honorable members, I don't know whether you have any query regarding this presentation on COVID-19.
Yes, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Judge.
Chair, the accounting officer said that some staff don't know how to use a computer. But you know the quality of staff. If you're a professor and you don't know how to use a computer, so which kind of staff? According to your survey, I don't know whether they are support staff, the cooks, or if professors. So then too, he talked about masks. It's good in our culture. You say when you said there are insects the other side, you bring. That's why Honorable Bala brought insects on the floor. It's good you have brought for the chair. But I think, Chair, next time the accounting officer should know that the members of this committee are 40 and the technical staff. Otherwise, this can cause chaos. You may think you are bribing the chair. So, in your wisdom, we can market your masks instead of giving night till what? We give you so that money remains within. So, I think Chair will guide you how to bring, because members can come in, you bring in some extra, so that when a certain member comes, otherwise they may think, Chair has gotten a mask,
then the others
and he has, yeah, you know. So, Chair, but you said you are giving Bududa Manafa.
Yes.
And Butaleja is in your area. So, may I know from the accounting officer, when is Butaleja? Finally, Chair, he said that when students start in January. Who told you students?
No, I didn't say, Chair.
No,
Chair.
you just listen.
Yeah, he said
just take a note
when students report in January, it is on record. Our technical officer can retrieve if you think we are like. That's why you are recorded. Said in January. I don't know why you got that communication that school will become in January, because we have media around. They may even say schools open in January, and the minister will have issues. So, if it's true, fine. If it's not, you rather request the chair that such information be expunged. Otherwise, media is here, they will say, breaking news, school to start in January, when the president is going to talk today at night. So somebody may wonder where you got that information, and you may take contrary, then the president says schools are opening tomorrow for you, say in January. So, Chair, I remember this parliament directed the Minister of Education to tell whoever is doing any online teaching to stop, because there are people where there is no internet. Now, if you only teach 80, you said 80 something, what about the 17? So, hoping you are just keeping not for exam, because, Chair, we remember we stopped any online, we even stopped LODC. So those are some of the remarks, but I want to thank the accounting officer and indeed you, Chair, for this day. Thank you.
But I think you are very right, especially on the last issue. about the online courses. I've seen your presentation here. You talk about the online learning and etc. etc. Well, that one is okay if it is a normal online, learning based on the the format of how the school should, the college, the university should run. But just for specifically addressing the issue of COVID-19, I think the parliament has pronounced itself on that. So I think if it is because you intend to promote those who have gone through the on-learning courses or whatever, that one now is a different matter. And we need to be patient as a university. We need to be patient as a learning institution. I've seen people panicking, even in private schools. They want to do their own stuff. They even want to promote some students to go to the next level. But when the government has pronounced itself and said, no, you please hold on. We have had dead years before. Maybe this is a dead year, I don't know. So we need really to make sure we go systematically and follow what the government has come up with, because otherwise we're going to mess up. Yes, Honorable Rosemary.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the accounting officer has talked about extending the application period. But, Mr. Chairman, most of the students from Amudat district study in Busiteema, in their campus of Arapai. Now, I don't know whether the applications you have received so far are representative enough, considering the fact that some districts are not connected via network, via internet, via radios. The roads are bad. Generally, we have places which are hard to reach. Now, I don't know whether from the applications you have received, there are students, for example, from Kalangala, from Karamoja, those hard to reach areas. Then, Mr. Chairman, I just would like to, I thank them for making the face masks and the sanitizers. That is the innovation that we want. That is the work that we want our universities to be doing. Now, I would like to ask, should we expect a boost in your NTR this financial year from the face masks and from the sanitizers?
I think that's a very good one. Now that you have ventured,
but Chair, have they been cleared by UNBS? Okay.
Yeah, you will respond. You will have to respond to that clearance from UNBS.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this. These reactions. First of all, I need to apologize if I've said January because I don't have the mandate. But we are, when they open by any HPHE's directive, we shall prepare our materials and be further guided by the Ministry of Education and National Council. So what we are doing right here is developing the materials and trying to test the students, whether they have laptops, whether they have iPads, whether they have Android phones. But the materials have not been really used and doing this and that. But we are developing them, waiting for further directives on the reopening and the rest of that. For Butareja distribution of these face masks and not face masks, sanitizers, we started with, because of the budget constraint, we started with the area centers in Bujisu, because that's where the pharmacists have been doing the COBAs, the community outreach. But we are going to be systematic and see how to move and cover area centers, especially area centers 3 or 4, by giving them part, and we usually give these ones in 20 jerry cans such that they can have a lot of effect. So we are considering cascading. For the issue of online applications, I want the AR to see how many applications have been received online, whether the applications have stopped and the rest of that, and see how we can move. For the boost in the NTR, we actually, Chair, we have a company called Busiteema Fund Company, where we have a company secretary here with us, the legal officer, Busiteema Fund Company. which fund, Busiteema University Fund Company, which is operational, and it is going to take on some of these initiatives. Like we have got a service bay, which is going to be repairing vehicles from the region, and this is some of the initiatives that are going to be taken on by the company to generate what you call NTR. We have even received, the chair, materials for solar panel, solar energy, 4 megawatts. When we are entering Busiteema University, near at the roadside, we are developing 4 megawatt project to generate 600 million every year to the main grid, which will be shared by Busia District Local Government, Ministry of Energy, and Busiteema University, still under the company. So we hope that all this initiative will be given to the fund company to generate more money, especially NTR.
Okay.
So let me
so we are expecting a lot of money from Busiteema University
in the next
NTR. The
subsequent financial years.
Okay.
Yes, Chair. Let me give Ara to respond on online applications, because there is a concern whether the people have applied from other areas and you have stopped here and the rest of that.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair and members. Yeah, since last year we have we are instructed that we have online applications, and so last year's admissions and this year's admissions, the applications are purely online. We always provide.
Is it because of the COVID-19, or it is
no,
a development within the university?
Within the universities, and an instruction from
is
the
it strictly online application? Or also
yes, strictly online application, but someone who has challenges can come to any of the campuses, and there is always a desk of someone who can help them to apply. But application is online for all public universities. About our deadline, yes, actually the deadline was scheduled for 30th April, but we kept extending it because of the COVID situation, and knowing that there was a lockdown and people are not able to move. Even if you wanted to go to a cafe to apply, cafes were closed. So we kept.
Which period are you targeting?
We
with the online application.
Which period?
Which period are you targeting for admission?
Which period? We are targeting that end of this month we should be able to at least have admission.
To do your admission.
Yes. That's why we extended up to 17th, which is last Friday, and so now we want to analyze. We won't make any analysis until we have stopped.
So assuming the government has declared a date here for all institutions of learning in the country, what are you going to do with that admission?
No, I mean, can
assuming, just assuming.
Yes.
That the government today, the president comes and say, no, members, we are going to start our school next year. All the schools will be reopened next year. So what are you going to do with that?
The people who have been admitted will still hold on until next year. And because we have not issued admission letters yet, but we want to make an analysis.
So how about those in that class? For example, even first year, they have not been promoted to second year. What happens to them? If you do admission for first year?
I think there we would have to go back to the drawing board and see how we can do it. Whether we can have 2 running classes, one doing a second semester and another one doing a first semester. Or if we can hold them until such a time when these ones in second semester can finish.
Honour Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Honour Chair.
No, I think, let's leave it to them. They will be able to do their own assessment too.
Honour Chair, on that one, I think through our Evo Chair, you'll wait for further guidance from government, because we don't want Busiteema to do its own. Then Makere is doing his own. It should be systematic. But Chair,
chaos,
it will bring chaos. But Honour Chair, why I wanted some interjection from you, Chair, that she said they were instructed by the ministry that all applications are online. Chair, through you, can we get such a communication? Because we have villagers, they did do exams online, S6, and when you tell them online, so I think, Chair, if you can instruct, we get such a copy, we can raise the matter of international concern. Because we're raising online somebody from Butaleja, whose mother sold just land for him to do S6, he has not seen a computer. and they said it is strictly online. I think this system is intended for the rich who are in Kampala.
Okay.
So if Chair, you could
Do you have
direct
a
that
copy
they
of
bring
the-
such a copy, then we start
Directive,
from there.
You want to say something?
Sorry. I wanted to clarify that this system is called AIMS. It was developed even before COVID. Yeah, and it was given to all universities. So it has been around. It is not a new development.
But aim is there,
Aims.
yeah. Aim is there.
Yeah.
I think it is there.
Yeah.
Chair, since the senior
And
teacher is
sometimes our
here.
auditors have also been able to assess that.
Teacher.
Yes.
Hono Chair, since the senior teacher, our own Hono Seungu is the Busomesa is around.
Honorable Sem was here.
Yeah, but Hono Chair,
You must-
me, I just wanted a copy of the letter. What I'll do with it, just leave, because
Can you provide us with a copy of the
Copy.
with the instruction letter from the
because you
ministry?
said you have instructions. You may not have now, but you can send. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Seungu.
Well, good morning, members. Busiteema, are your courses practical courses or you have more of theory than practical?
Busiteema courses, both theory and practical, hands-on and
Now, you see, that's where we had a big problem as Parliament. Of course, for them, Mr. Chairman, they push for online Zooming and what. But with analysis, if they are trustworthy and they are talking the truth, the learning is not so strong. It's not so strong. Because if it is they are practical areas, then they cannot sustain them on Zooming. But definitely with this problem we are facing, you see, what you are telling is not true, so not very true. That before COVID you had the
Aim.
fine, that one I agree with you. Registration is okay, but like let me tell you, maybe you because you are from near Malaba, because these cables come from Mombasa, the internet cables and what have you. Not so. So for you a bit better, but the internet is not so strong in many areas, and you have to make an analysis of those students. How many can access it out of the population? If you have 1,000 students and only 500 accessing because of being with money, then that is not performance. And two, how many children have these phones? Me, I'm at RDC. This thing could hit up on Zoom. By the time the lecture ends, 2 hours, this phone is down. And I'm a member of parliament. I'm not like the others, but mine could run down. So I think Chairman, the issue is Minister of Education refused to come out with a clear system of how we are going to handle this problem. May I ask them to open up universities? They refused, at least for the time being, to see how we can handle COVID from mature people. That's what was supposed to be done. But none of them can talk. They fear Mr. Museveni, all of them. They wait for him to talk. No, you are not handling, sir. They are not. Mr. Chairman, that is factual. No minister, even our first lady, the wife of the man, can make a decision on education. But if we go to universities already, like Busiteema and others, they would be studying by now. Then we make a case study out of them. We say we handle the lower classes. Because these are mature people. But definitely, we have to go as it is. You wait for today's statements. You will see 2 hours with nothing coming out.
No, I think now what Honorable James has said. Thank you, Honorable Seungo. You have a copy of that document. We want just to study, not necessarily to the instruction of this registration, when it is started and that kind of stuff. So if you can avail the committee next week, you make sure.
Furnish us with the copy the minister gave you.
Yeah, this is what we are saying. This is what we are saying.
We need it very much.
Yeah.
but there is a statement or some addition we wanted
You want
to
to
make.
add something? This is a plan.
What I could start with
The acting
the AIM
plan?
system, yes. The AIM system, basically, it's a system for registration, and it captures the school fees. You remember when they had this
Yes,
the
yes.
capturing of the school fees?
Yes.
That's why it went online, so that when you are registering, then you are sure that the person have paid. But if you are not able, we are able always to have, when we are advertising, we put the telephone number, the telephone lines of the person you contact, the emails, and even
No, we are aware of that.
We
are aware.
gonna even
In fact,
communicate that you can come.
In fact,
at the curbs
in fact,
and
our
ensure that-
auditors have been also auditing. There are some people whom you enter into this same system, students, and you don't collect their dues. And yet it is actually counting as if when you enter now, you are like a student who is registered. And it becomes like a domestic, a failure by the university to collect the fees. We have seen it in our audit reports here. It has been coming. So we understand that. But get for us a copy of that, that we see how to move. Honorable members, I think let's move. We are going to page 1 of our response. Accounting officer referred to page 1. But as we are referring to page 1, you look at page 11, page 12. As we are going to page 1 of your response, this big one, let's go to page 12, page 11, page 12. There is a lot of contradiction in the figures here. Somebody, I think you were the one who was reminding me on this. A lot of contradiction. Maybe we just have to clear the figures that have been presented. The Auditor General is saying your NTR is 6.787. That was what was budgeted for, which I think is correct even here on page 11, page 12. But here you managed to collect a sum of 6.689. And when you look at your warrant is on page 12. Your warrant is far much less than that. The Auditor General is saying 6.6. You are saying you were warranted, which you actually collected 6.4. I think a variant of about 100 and something million Uganda shillings. And then out of this also, your budgeted NTR, you never made collection over yet. I think let's start from there. Why is this contradiction in terms of what you have entered here and what we have in your responses?
So,
Chair, you have noted.
I have noted.
Yes.
Let me call upon
Let's start from there.
the university bursar to make
Yes,
take
Basa,
a-
yes.
Yes, university bursar.
Thank you, Chair. It is very clear. The statement of the auditor corresponds to ours as regards the budgeted amount, but as regards to the warrant and actual, there is actually a difference of 200 million, which was
This is on page 12. You're talking about page 12.
page 11 and page 12.
Yeah, appropriation.
They are the same.
Yes.
There was a variance of 200 million.
Yes.
It was realized that there was a mistake during the entry by the accounts assistant in charge of receivables. She made that mistake. We corrected it with accountant general, and it was. That's
How
we
did you
have-
correct it? What was the
Because
mistake?
it was in the system. She had receipted a certain figure of 200 million twice. When I think even in the accounts, I don't know that I put that Excel to show where that
So where is it? Where did you make that adjustment?
that
You know, there must be something like that tweeted somewhere, how you corrected that anomaly.
Chair, I forgot to carry but that anomaly was corrected with the
How do
accountant
we know it
general
was corrected?
and the auditor general also.
What I'm asking, how can we know that it was corrected?
I don't know whether it's in the annexes. Let me check the annexes, but I think there was a write-up which was shown. There was a write-up which was showing that that sheet of that excess. We have it somewhere in the appendixes. We had that write-up.
You, sir, you are misguiding us.
No, sir. Let's just hold on.
Yes,
Chair.
Honorable James. Honorable.
Chair.
Then I come to you.
I think since he says he has it, you know, when we take him marathon, he may just start quacking. Hey, can we give him some small time? We can go to other issues. Yeah, because he will start fidgeting, then he will lose track. So since he has other, is it assistant bursars, what? Sure, in your wisdom, you guide maybe 5 minutes. rather than he will be quaking and we need that information. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable James. Honorable.
Mr. Chairman, now let the accounting officer explain this issue very clearly. You see, Mr. Accounting Officer, the key audit matter states that your management, you explained that the shortfall of NTR collection was as a result of not admitting students for bachelors of science in electrical engineering. Okay, that's the cause of the shortfall course as anticipated. Now you are saying, however, the electrical engineering course has now been accredited by National Council of Higher Education. Now that one gives a very tough question against you. Can you budget for a course that is not yet accredited?
No, it was not budgeted at that time, but
you see, there are two answers confusing us. Because if it was not accredited, Mr. Chairman, then it cannot cause a shortfall. Absolutely. Because it's not among the courses you are teaching. So it cannot
that
be.
time it was budgeted for.
So why was it budgeted for before it was accredited? And what were you anticipating? What was the number you were anticipating to get?
Yes, Chair. You know,
I advise that accounting officer make sure your microphone is on throughout. And I want to invite you to take some tea, water, coffee. Let's have a working tea. So you feel free to access all this as we go along. Yes.
Chair, at the planning stage, when we are planning, when we receive the certificate of financial implication for a program, that means that the process is almost complete. So we are only waiting for National Council to come and accredit these programs. So we include them in the budget because the budget ends earlier before even the financial year starts, so that if the program is to start, it's already included in the budget. And that's what we did. It's based on the forecast because at least most of the information, for example, the certificate of financial implication was already achieved. So we knew that we were on track, but there was some certain equipment which National Council said that it need to be purchased.
Then that one still raises questions that you have. Who gives the accreditation of certificate of financial implication?
National Council for Higher Education.
Certificate of financial implication?
No, that is PSST.
And that's wrong, by the way. And Mr. Chairman, we should note that. We refused that. Muhakanizi doesn't know education. He's not an educationist, and in the Committee of Education, we stopped you from getting certificates of financial implication because they are gagging courses that should be taken by students. I don't know whether members you are getting me. Yes. That a university it has a supervisor who is the National Council of Higher Education, who is supposed to accredit a course. Then you have to go to Muhakanizi to give you certificate of financial implication to start teaching that course in the Busiteema. It's very irregular, and we stopped that. Secondly, I don't accept what you are saying. The moment now, when Mr. Chairman you are budgeting, that means you are getting students who have applied for admission. That's why you expect that money that is causing a shortfall. How do we get there that you have budgeted? Because how do you know the number of students you are going to get? Do you have a feeder institution that you have Namasagari, which is no longer there? You have Mwiri and others. The member is there. Do you take them as your feeder institution that as a must we shall get these students? The answer is no.
But I think also on top there are two issues here. The one Honorable Sewung is raising, which if you look at the Auditor General's recommendations, is in line with what he has said. That you have been formulating unrealistic plans. Unrealistic and non-achievable targets, because now you are budgeting for something you don't even anticipate of getting.
Yeah.
And then it comes to your NTR and you are failing to collect that, becomes an audit question.
It's an audit question.
So it's very unrealistic planning. And then secondly, the other issue we are looking at is this mismatch of the figures. This one here is talking about 6.6 billion. And then here in your entry, in your book of entry, it is 6.4 billion. So we want to see how we can harmonize this. And he was trying to give an explanation to that effect. So let's handle these two concurrently. without losing
we need that letter of a certificate of financial obligation, Mr. Chairman. You see, what Mwakanizi does, this institution is supposed to enroll more courses. Now, because he doesn't want to give them money under their vote, he tells them, I must first give you a certificate of financial implication, as if you are tabling a bill in Parliament. The desire for these people is to get more courses that are competitive. And those competitive courses, they can even get from a higher loan scheme and others. Because that's why this university was put there. For him, you sit there and you start panicking. We need it. And you must answer why.
Mr. Chairman, this issue of certificate of financial implication, I'm seeing there's a problem in the order of doing things, because he told us they first got a letter of financial implication. Then when they went to National Council for Higher Education, they told them certain machines for this particular course, certain machines were not there. They first wanted those machines to be in place before accreditation is done. So, Mr. Chairman, I see that there is need to first begin with the National Council, so that you first certify all the requirements that is needed, and then you can now present that to Mwakanizi for certificate of financial implication.
Honourable Chair. Honourable Chair.
Is Honourable James?
What
Take note. I will give you the...
Honourable Chair,
Okay.
what Honourable Sewungu is saying is very correct. Because how can Mwakanizi come in financial? So if we can get that, if you can get that letter of financial what? Yeah. Then we shall handle Mwakanizi from here. We can't, because it will be confusing. So accounting of a through our able chair, if you can bring those two documents we are talking about, then the rest you leave for this committee. I want to thank you.
Yeah, Chairperson, I have this certificate of financial implication, and to note that the Executive Director and the National Council for Education, they cannot approve without financial implication certificate as per the Public Finance Management Act. They want that one first. So that has been a very big problem. But I'm going to produce a certificate.
I want to put this on record, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry to interrupt the accounting office. He is a member of the education committee. We've visited these institutions. The committee refused that thing of certificate of financial implication. It is on the recommendations of Parliament. And if you continue and you are not informing the committee, you are the ones violating the orders of the committee, and you are supervising the committee, which is Committee of Education. I will ask the chairman to call the chairman of the Committee of Education, and I'm a member. Don't you know me, sir? What else do you want? It has a lot of problems, honorable members.
Yeah.
Because what Mwakanizi was doing is stopping these universities from enrolling in new courses which were meant for the university, because it doesn't want to give them money. But then that means the university will not move.
Will not develop.
It will remain on those minor courses.
So, Chair, I'm going to produce that later, but I think the minister has continued to even put in the statutory standing.
We are giving you until Tuesday. Make sure you produce this letter. Okay? Now let's harmonize your position quickly.
There were two issues on that thing. That change which we made on the system, I will get a copy. Unfortunately, give me up to Tuesday to bring.
But sir, you don't be tricky.
No, sir. No, sir.
So when are you getting for us that? On Tuesday?
On Tuesday it will come with the rest of them.
So that we harmonize this figure.
Yeah, teacher, they think, Honourable Chair, they think Tuesday is very far. We are around.
Yeah, we are around actually. We are not going to go anywhere. Even when the roadmap is out.
Yeah.
We'll keep around, hanging around here. Now let's continue with page 12. There is this employee cost. The initial approved budget 28, revised, maybe you have gotten supplementary 29. Now you spend over and above what you allocated, what you are warranted. Where did you get the other monies from? Are you seeing? Yes. Up to the tune of page 12 of the final accounts. Tune of 78 million. Over and above the cost that you are warranted. You went overboard and allocated money for yourself on that budget line, you spend over and above what you are given.
Chair, there was I've got it.
Yes.
Chair, there was an outstanding obligation of 80 million for which was supposed to, which we are not allowed to pay from the salaries. It was allowances and what have you, to heads of. I think even it's attached on the what. An obligation.
Are you getting
allowances?
Yeah, I'm getting, Chair.
Heads of departments and what have you.
You're on page 1.
Chair, there were
Which
allowances.
page are you in now? What is it?
Page 4 of Chair. There were allowances where the heads of departments and the deans were being paid
Listen,
from.
you know that justification will not actually exonerate you. What we are saying here, you have been warranted 29 billion 626 200 as employee cost, but you went ahead and spent over and above what you were warranted. Where did you get the other money from? Are you seeing?
That's what I was trying to explain, that we paid.
Through the accounting officer.
Yeah, you can explain.
We sort of like asked the faculties to find money and settle those allowances. Because they were removed from the payroll, they couldn't be paid through the payroll.
You see, Mr. Accounting Officer, let us be specific. You can't come to the committee and someone says, we sort of like, is that an answer that is sustainable?
No.
Like now, let us look for some goats here, sort of, we put them and see. I think the answer should be specific. You are educationists. We don't want to handle you the way we handle other institutions. What exactly happened? Because you should be specific. But when you say we sort of like, it was like a laissez-faire. The query, answer it.
Yes, well, I'm saying the faculties, the management decided that faculties pay this money out of their allowances. And that's how that thing went beyond what was warranted. It's about 78, which is almost the same amount which was for the allowance.
Now you are even saying 80 million, now you are saying almost 80.
It is.
Is there anything in account called almost? Is there anything like almost?
Honour Chair.
The figure is either this or that, not almost.
We paid that.
Even if it's 1 shilling.
Yeah, Honour Chair. I see CPA people here say even 1 shilling can cause trouble. But you say the management. Here we talk with the ink. Can we get that management decision? Then later, whether it was in line with the law. But first of all, can we get that management, a copy of that management decision? Then the chair will guide whether it was within the law or outside the law.
On Chair, on this Annex 4 in the big book, where we had the deanship and the headship allowances, where there is a letter from the management to the program accountants to telling them to ensure that this money is paid for and the rest of that. Annex 4, there are the letters from management to the program. Otherwise, Chair, this money was initially it used to be on the payroll, but public service advised that allowances are not supposed to be on the payroll. They are supposed to be paid, and the Auditor General advised that allowances don't put. You would find duty facilitating allowance is on the payroll, so they were all removed. It's only acting allowance or the salary that is supposed to be on the payroll.
But that one does not stop us from understanding the actual.
Your observation is right, Chair.
Can you refer to section 15 of the Acts of Parliament, Public Finance and Management Acts? You see, when you via out of the approved budget by Parliament, you are now doing your own things in your own wish, and therefore you are you are tampering with this very law that is helping us to guide our financial management system. You read section 15 of this law. Do you have a copy of this? Huh? You have not committed to your approved budget. Yes, Honorable Rosemary.
Just referred us to that schedule of deans and heads of departments allowances for financial year 2017-2018. But Mr. Chairman, when you look at number 9 on that list, we have Aguaro Grace, is the acting security supervisor. I want to go to that column of period. The period they are paying is from November 2016 to February 2018. But here they are telling us these payments are for financial year 2017-2018. Why have you smuggled in payments for 2016 for Aguaro?
Well, that's another one altogether. Yes, accounting officer.
Let me call upon the university bursar, or the deputy university bursar. Deputy.
Thank you, Chair. Through the US, those amounts of 80 million that is under review constitute arrears that were outstanding, and so they were settled in financial year 18-19, and so it had components of other beneficiaries as well, although the majority of them were academic staff.
But Mr. Chairman, the heading there is misleading. Cost is telling us we are looking at deans and heads of departments allowances for financial year 2017-2018. If you knew you needed to capture this particular officer, Aguaro Grace, of 2016, then you should have covered that period also. Because now someone can think, actually, someone concludes that you smuggled in some payments in this particular year.
Honor Chair.
Take note, accounting officer.
Honor Chair.
Yes.
I think for me, what Honorable Rosemary is raising is very okay. But to Aguaro, you know, Chair, some of these names, I think these people don't want to pay them. Because Aguaro was demanding from 2016. But for me, though it is bad, at least the Aguaro who crosses the Nile was paid. Because I should be demanding, imagine a security person in the night, a lady suffering, breastfeeding at night, guarding things. So for me, Chair, what Honorable Rosemary raised is very, very pertinent. Why did you delay to pay Aguaro? But I want to thank God that at least this lady was paid finally. But accounting officer, why did you delay to pay this lady? Is it because she crosses the Nile? Her name, when you pay the computer, will jam or what? But thank you for paying her. Yeah.
Yes, accounting officer, can you respond?
Yeah, let me give the university bursar to give a response. But when it sufficed, when I went to Busiteema in 2017-18 financial year, all those areas government was saying we have to look for them and settle them. So that was the starting point when we had to look for the areas of 16, 17. We were settling them up to as domestic areas. The letters from PSST were saying, counting officer, you must settle domestic areas once and for all. So we were going backwards, and in that spirit, I think some of the issues that were not settled came on board. But the university bursar can give some observation.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. The position was that we asked the deans to give us their areas for all. And this person, Aguaro, happened to be a head of a section in the faculty of science. And so I think she was considered on that basis. because they said bring all the areas of those, especially the allowances that were paid heads of sections and the department. So it should happen to be there. Okay, the heading may be misleading. You can excuse us for that, Chair. But that was a single issue.
Chair.
Yes.
Chair, once again, I'm Wariam Monica Moses, a member of this committee. I represent people of Kagoma County, that is in Jinja. Chair, I want to take this opportunity to thank the accounting officer and maybe the management also, because sometimes in these institutions, as carries, they are not considered. They demand for their areas and they don't pay them. And since these people, they have tried at least to look into those people's demands, then we need to thank them. Let us assume that what we are seeing on the paper is people receive their money. But if you supplied air because you knew that you are coming to the Public Accounts Committee, then that will be bad for you. So, Chair, that is my submission.
Chairman, can they confirm that these payments have been made?
Accounting officer, can you confirm the interest of the members that this payment have
Yeah,
been
these people were paid.
And give us evidence of the payments. A schedule showing us even Aguaro was paid,
Yeah,
the 1.6.
Chair, I think they should bring, other dean is what, our interest is in this Aguaro. If they can only show that Aguaro was paid, and if they can also, Chair, through you, they can bring her details. Some of us can go to the villages and ask whether she was paid.
Mr. Accounting Officer, most of your heads of department are in acting capacity, almost all of them. What is causing this? Acting head of Department of Agriculture, Agribusiness, acting deputy dean, acting head fisheries, acting head.
we shall come to that, but let's first clarify this.
Okay.
To give them the opportunity
but
to respond. Then we come, because I know there are issues of appraisal and stuff. Then we will come to. Can you please clarify this issue?
Chair, I think I can follow up with the various accountants and get you the details of who.
As we are following up, the issue here is the Section 15 of our Public Finance Management Act. Commitments of approved budget and accounting. Listen very carefully. By the way, we have just removed the accounting officer of Gulu University. Okay? Because of some of these anomalies. He's no longer the accounting officer of Gulu University and others. An accounting officer shall commit the budget of a vote based on the annual cash flow plan issued under this section. Here you have not committed to your budget, you went overboard, and you have spent more than what you budgeted for, even what you have been warranted for. You can now see how your account is. Now we don't know, you consider yourself into I don't know what, Speaker, Parliament, you allocated to yourself, pull money from this side.
Chair, where did they get this money?
Where did you get the money from? 80 million, which was not budgeted for. It was not warranted, it was not budgeted for. So which means you're only declaring certain aspects of your NTR. You just put it somewhere for, you know. Huh? Are you seeing?
There was mischarge.
Being chair.
So you have not even committed to your budget and to your annual cash flow, which is approved by Parliament. Because this budget and the plan and whatever is approved by Parliament before appropriation.
Let me give again UB2.
Chair, maybe we'll admit the mistake. There was some mischarge, but we have now strengthened our accountants on the what?
How can you spend money that you are not, that is not there?
Since
because you see, when you put your money into a budget, that is the money we always think is supposed to be there in the budget. And you spend according to how you apply.
Chair, there was pressure.
Now, where do you spend money that is not there?
There was
Chair,
pressure to settle this.
this bus of yours may bring us trouble. I don't want even him to talk. Maybe the accounting officer will talk, because now he's talking of mischarge and other problem. So he would rather keep quiet, otherwise he will anger members. And he will
so you
anger
take
the
money
chair.
from other budget items and then you pay to
That's what you are saying. Because now we shall know, you tell us where I picked. So he rather keeps quiet.
Chairperson and members, I'm going to review this in detail and get the details. Otherwise, I really don't also do like that, find that there is over expenditure on this. So I think I will give you the due consideration to look at the details of this, such that we can really present a fair
But
statement.
Chair, is the accounting office telling us that before they set off to come to meet this committee, they had no meeting? He knew nothing about this?
So, Chair, we had a meeting. We had meeting and with the Vice Chancellor and the chairs, and we looked through. But sometimes you may not get detail. Sometimes it can be an oversight, not have details. So if I go and review the details, maybe we can. Otherwise, we say that you give us, we review the details and say exactly what happened.
Honor Chair,
Yes,
since today, you know, these people have survived, because today we are handling new constituencies. And some of us, yeah, it's very important, because we are looking at their budgets, making for them money they eat. Constituencies, that's where people get represented here. So, Chair, in view of that, since he says you look, he brings the detailed. But the other letter of Hono Sewungu, because you have two letters, they will bring these accounts and they fail to bring the other policy issues where Hono Sewungu will raise on education.
Yes.
And for me, I raise on the other side.
Chair, I'm going to bring the documents.
Honorable members, number 1, number 2 is almost on the same issue. Under performance of 317 is about unrealistic, planning. Huh? So you take note of that. Now 3, we are talking about out of the warranted amount of 39 billion, you spent 39.7. You didn't even spend all the money, 254. What do you say about that? This unspent balance of 254.
Yeah, Chairperson, the issue was one, the 204 came from the 4 issues. One was the money that was on gratuity areas. The Ministry of Finance gave us 179 in the release. Then the Ernst and Young, when reviewed the schedules, because it took 2 years, they reviewed the schedules. They found that they actually came up with 165 as per the attachment, and when we paid, we had 142 million excess of the verified, because some of the staff had left the organization. We couldn't trace them to bring. So Ernst and Young was very particular. They reviewed the schedules and found out that the money that was to be paid was 165. So we had no control. We paid 165, and this one remained on the account. Then the second one, 65 million was accrued as salary arrears. 1 or 2, I think there were 2 staff who left in that first quarter, and therefore 1 had died. So we had like 3 staff which came to around 65 million. We couldn't do this because it was already, we couldn't do any recruitment. Then the 30 million as a supplier from the Faculty of Health Sciences, there was an error in a bank account and the money bounced, and it was already closing date. So it went back to the consolidated fund. Then the 17 million was small balances from all the 112 items. When they consulted 1 shilling, 10 shilling, it came to this. So all in all, the 254 million came as a result of those unspent balances, which we couldn't do, like wage. Someone has left, you can't do much in the first quarter. So 65 came out of wage. Then the contractor 30 million was lost through the wrong account, 17 small balances, and then 142 verified areas. It came to 254 and was returned back to the treasury. We had no control over this chairperson.
So you know you are very bright, eh? Because we are at the university.
No chairperson. We are. Yeah, some chairperson.
Because your explanation doesn't happen. Yes.
I think the accounting officer should not undermine any amount of money. To say these were small monies just meant for this. For us, we are concerned of all monies, even if it is 100 shillings. So now here when you tell us 17 million was small balances from the different budget lines, just say these were balances without telling us small or big.
Information.
Because we are concerned.
Information.
Thank you very much.
Yes, information.
The information.
Let's start by this first. 1 minute, then. Let's start by this, then you will come. Let's take the contractor. We supplied you with wrong accounts. There was error in the accounts, then the money bounced back. The 30 million. Where is the evidence?
Evidence is there, yeah.
Where?
Come.
We can provide it.
Can print it on the.
Can print it for the system and provide it to and the statement.
You knew you were coming to, as you say, you knew you were coming for this. Now you just fix that.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable James.
The information I wanted to give Honorable Rosemary, that these accounting officers, professors, university, they deal in big monies. So 17. Some of us in Butaleja, where do you get 17 million? So for them it's small money, but through our ever chair, accounting officer, even 1 shilling, don't say small what? This is public money. You didn't sell your cows.
No, I have understood.
It's public money. But Chair, as you have further guided, there is a tendency of technical officers, because maybe the supplier has not brought kickback. They say he brought a wrong account. So unless you bring that evidence, we can also call the supplier, because I doubt whether there is any supplier who can give a wrong what?
The wrong account.
They say you want to pay you and you bring a wrong one. A supplier who has an account.
Who is looking for the money
to
be paid?
Okay, since chair has guided, we shall get the documentation, but I doubt.
Yeah.
Yes, Honorable.
Now, you see, Mr. Accounting Officer, you should look at what the authors are saying. That because of those funds that were returned, the university was denied the opportunity to implement some key planned activities, including renovation of the lecture rooms. Meaning that they looked at what you had planned for. And the Busiteema, according to what I know, the money you want is far less by what is given to you. Now, if you get this money and then you take it back, who benefits? Is it the government or you? Because these activities were not given attention. Then, when you are coming to this committee deals with the evidence. If you know there's a person who died, the lecturer, and someone left, it must be attached because it backs the reasons of taking back the money. Now, don't you expect many of us to just accept everything you say? I cannot. So what amount was meant for the renovation of the lecture rooms that was taken back instead of using it?
Yeah, Chair, too.
This is a key activity.
Chair.
Take note, you write what the members are.
Chair,
yes.
Maybe something connected to that. You remember when he was giving us the explanation, the bursar said that they had a mischarge, meaning that a certain item was affected because its money was used. But again, they are having money to return when other items are being affected without using this one. which they have returned. Why is it so? You affect a certain item, you get the money from that item, you use it, leaving it in hanging, and then at the end of the day, you return the money.
Put it down and then you will be able to respond.
The first bullet in there, Mr. Chairman, their explanation of the unspent balance. They are telling us it included gratuity arrears of 142 million, which was the excess of the verified amount by Ernest and Young. Now, I would like to find out, I thought this company there would come to you, to the institution, to get the list of those to benefit from gratuity. Now, why did the Ernest and Young come with these excess amounts?
I think that's a good one. Because they were basing themselves on the list you submitted to them for verification.
Yeah.
So where does the excess come
So,
from now?
Chair, I think to
when
build
actually is within your what?
To build the
what you are presenting.
To build in what
Yes,
Nawad said. It means Ernest and Young had hiked. So if we get that document, even Ernest Young could cough all this money. I can take it as a matter of international importance because Ernest and Young is international.
There is no possibility of Ernest and Young doing an excess, verification, because Ernest and Young only relies on what is submitted before them by the university. So unless maybe they will get other from outside somewhere, outside the list, then it becomes excess. Because otherwise, if they narrow themselves into the list, it can't be excess. It can be. It's only within the list that you have submitted.
So, Chair, that's why accounting officer, you have to read this. When these people write these things, they say smaller balances, then they say excess. You'll bring it that Ernest and Young is even allowing government to supply air. So these are key issues. Accounting officer, when these people bring, don't just happen. You ask, take time and read some of these things. You would just delete them. Yeah.
I want to give opportunity to Investor Buster, but suffice to mention that these areas were being paid in phased manner. They were 4.2 billion in 2014-15. So they first paid 2.5, then the balance remained. So when Minister of Finance was going to budget, they budgeted the money and said again all the details should be taken to understand Young, and then they come to the university and look at the. So in so doing, verifying some of the documents would not say this temporary appointment, maybe this is not considered. All these arise as a result of again looking at those areas for the last 4 years. So and then eventually they come out. So this money of gratuity was like ring-fenced, and if one understand Young, which was mandated, said this is the money, you have to go ahead and pay, and then but let me give the university buster to give something.
Chair, I think it's exactly what he's saying. I'm only just trying to understand. We requested for money for areas from government, and government approved a certain amount of money. But then, before we could pay, Ernest and Young was asked to what? Then when they realized, when we were compiling, I think they, of course, during verification, we realized that maybe the policies were not affected, and then somehow there was a saving of that amount, which we had to return and pay the exact amount verified. There was nothing about that. They verified and found that this is the exact money you're supposed to pay. There was a result of policy changes and what have you, and the periods.
So, we ask the head of the human resource whom they were interacting with and the exit meeting to give a statement.
You allocated more money on gratuity out of the verification of Ernest and Young.
Thank you, Chair and members. We had submitted documents to finance requesting for gratuity areas. But in our document, we had considered the date of assumption of duty for staff. So we counted that period and we had a total amount. But when Ernest and Young came, it varied. It said it must be the date that the person signed the contract, and there were staff where those dates were varying. So staff had to lose certain month. A few staff had to lose certain month, and that is the total amount. So the difference, it was ours which was high, and theirs was low. But already finance had passed them. Yes.
No, that is a better explanation. That is
Yeah.
So that was a better explanation. But still,
When does the contract, which one begins? Is it the contract which Ernest and Young is concerned about, or the appointment which you are talking about?
Yes, Chair. We had considered the assumption of duty, but when Ernest and Young came for them, they said in accounts it is the date of signing of the contract. So we followed the law that they came with, and we reduced the days for staff, and thus that variance, and it was returned back.
Now,
Okay.
do you have a schedule for this?
Yes, we have.
Is it attached?
We have the previous.
I'm only seeing the balance that was returned, annex.
Yes,
you have a schedule?
Yes, we have the previous schedule we sent to
Yeah,
finance
we want to
vis-a-vis
see-
the one
we
from
want to
Ernest
see
and
the-
Young.
What is the difference
The
between the one of
variation.
Ernest and Young and then yours? So that
They
we
can submit.
we can see. Can you get for us that schedule?
Can be good.
Still, one part of the documents that will be submitted on Tuesday. Now, coming to this contractor here,